My name is Ashton Hunter, and I currently run and operate a coaching business that does 60K a month. What I realized and what I have been realizing is, especially in today's market as a fitness coach, it is so hyper competitive. And I know that's been thrown around a lot, but what I've realized is this. If you're a fitness coach that provides weight loss, you're competing directly against supplement companies, pharmaceutical brands like Ozempic, in-person gyms, doctors like plastic surgeons, for example, who do liposuction. A lot of these other competitors are actually even providing the same transformation for less effort and sacrifice on the prospect's behalf. And then you're coming in thinking that you're just competing against other fitness coaches while these other verticals and niches are absolutely crushing you. So what I'm about to share with you today is the logical solution of what I'm implementing with my clients so that they can scale to multiple 5 figures per month. And most importantly, uncommoditize themselves from this level of competition that we're experiencing right now within the fitness and health coaching space. So stick with me here. We got a great video. It's gonna be a long one. So take your phone. If you got your phone next to you, take it, put on Do Not Disturb, close out the other tabs, put this in full screen. Let's lock in here, and I hope you get some value from this. Right now in 2024, and especially moving forward in 2025, being a fitness coach is incredibly competitive, okay? Because the thing is, the amount of people who are looking for fitness, the prospects who are the consumers of that space, the amount of these people hasn't really changed from year to year. But the amount of people who are competing for these customers have drastically shot up. Okay, gym owners, PT studio owners, so many people, okay, who went online during COVID because they couldn't work in person. And they shut up during 2022. These people have stayed online, a lot of them. Okay, and there's even more people going online, influencers, etc., who are competing for the same market share. So as we can see, fitness coaching, online fitness coaching has become very competitive and a little bit saturated, you could say. I'm not going to throw around saturated, but it's become very competitive. A fact is the top 10% of fitness coaches, okay, are producing 90% of the market revenue. That's a fact, okay? So the top 10% of people who are fitness coaches, okay, are producing 90%. So that means the other 90% are barely surviving. They're living paycheck to paycheck. Okay, they rarely stay in business for 6 months. Okay, these people are barely living. They're constantly working. Okay, they're like, oh, this is the funny thing for me because I've done 2 bodybuilding shows myself personally. I go to the gym every day. I resonate with this kind of thesis, but these people try to apply the work ethic from going to the gym, from competing, from whatever, directly to business. And they think, oh, I'm going to work 16-hour days. I'm going to outwork you. I'm going to work 24-hour days. I'm going to sacrifice everything for this goal. Okay? And I'm just going to outwork you while it's not really the inputs that you're putting in. Okay? It's not, oh, I'm just going to put more inputs. It's what is the system you're putting these inputs into? Are you leveraged? Probably not. Okay? And pretty much without realizing, they've built themselves into a business that is completely dependent on their input, completely relying on them, not a machine doing the work for them, or even doing high revenue generating activities. Oh, I'm going to do cold DMs, or oh, I'm going to post organically. I'm going to scale up my organic. No. For example, when they scale up, they must scale their inputs. Then they scale their expenses and are forced to maintain the equivalent inputs. And if they stop or take any time off, the entire life they've built collapses. So it's kind of this input-output machine that they lock themselves into as well. Okay? And at the end of the day, if you're watching this, okay, you are probably in business to not just work 16-hour days, okay? Make a bit of money and burn out at an early age with major health problems. You got into business so that you'd be free from those exact things and be able to actually live your life. You're not in business to just work. You're not in business to just work all day. You're in business to make money and potentially enjoy that money. Do things that you want to do. Cool. So fitness coaching in 2025, like I said, is a complete nightmare. As a coach, you're not just competing with the millions of other coaches and online personal trainers. You're actually competing with every other sector of the fitness market that is promising the same outcomes of the shared prospect pool. I want you to think about this for a second because a lot of you guys think, oh, okay, I'm a fitness coach. I'm just competing with John, who's the other fitness coach who's selling online fitness packages. No, you're competing with supplement companies who are giving supplements away, productized. You're competing with pharmaceutical brands, Ozempic. You're competing with medical spas and procedures, lose weight procedures, stuff like that. You're competing with cosmetic and plastic surgeries, liposuction, tummy tucks, all this sort of stuff. Okay. And these are just a few of the hundreds of other sectors that you're competing with. Dietitians, okay? A lot of other sectors that are promising the same outcome of a transformation, physical transformation, and you are competing directly with these people. And these people are crushing you. Everyone is competing to take on the same clients, and the bad news is they actually have an upper hand on you. The thing is, a lot of these companies that I listed right here are selling implementation and not information. You are selling as a fitness coach. Most fitness coaches, 90% of fitness coaches, are selling information one way or another. You give your customers knowledge on how to accomplish something, and they do it. Simple. However, your customers, such as supplement companies, pharmaceutical brands, Ozempic, medical procedures, etc., they sell implementation. They take out the ease for you. And if you look at the difference between information and implementation economically will always produce a higher revenue than specifically information. Period. This means, and look at this. For example, if you look at the education space, you may say, oh, but colleges are making so much money. Okay. Why do people go to colleges? Okay. What is the point of that? People go to colleges because at the end of the day, that is a form of implementation, implementing them into a career. So when you reverse engineer this and you're a fitness coach and you're selling information and you tell them how to do it, you're getting crushed by people who, these massive companies, like for example, Ozempic made, I think they've made in like last year, 2023, a couple $2 billion. So, and this is the same people that you're competing with, same moms, dads, people who want to lose weight, etc. For example, I want you to look at this. Supplement companies, rather than following an intense workout plan, cutting out their favorite foods, etc., customers simply include taking a pill into their daily regimen and get the same results. It's very easy. The reality of the world is that no one will choose to follow a workout plan for months on months, attempting to maintain consistent effort over a long time frame with no guarantee of actually achieving their goal over a quick and easy fix that, like liposuction, for example, or supplement companies promise. Taking a magic pill, even though it may say, oh, it's a magic pill. That's how these companies frame themselves. Ozempic, magic pill, just take it and lose weight, is much easier and less painful than following a meal plan. And they're promising your prospects the same results as you. But allow them to avoid, this is the crux, 90% of the pains and problems that come with your process. Do you now see why this is becoming very hard to get ahead? Very hard. I don't know, like I have a lot of clients who are doing several $100,000s a month as fitness coaches, but do you think they're selling, for example, information? Do you think these guys are just like, hey, here's a meal plan, here's how to get in shape? No, hell no. Okay? And then another reason, perception of time delay. It's called chronoception. On top of reduced effort and sacrifice, there's something called chronoception. In psychology and neuroscience, time perception or chronoception is the subjective experience or sense of time which is measured by someone's own perception of the duration of the indefinite and unfolding of events. When humans are put into an environment which is difficult or uncomfortable, they tend to perceive time to move slower than it actually is, making everything seem to take longer and to be more dreadful. So even though, yes, your workout plan does take time and effort, the effort makes it feel longer. And then subjectively to these people, it puts them in a very high state of pain, which is very difficult when you're competing against these companies. Now this causes a problem with clients. They're following your plans, process, etc., but the effort and sacrifice they're inputting warps their time perception. They start to believe the process is taking longer than it is. Higher effort times longer time frame equals increased perceived time delay, which results in, obviously, you probably know this, higher attrition, more people are churning, more people are doubting your process, increasing in client process objections, even on the sales calls, objections. They're already thinking, oh, this is going to be a lot of work, objections. Oh, let me think about it. Let me talk to my wife. Okay. Clients switching over to other sectors, promising easier solutions and promises, right? Very straightforward. Makes sense why this is happening if you actually break this down. And overall, annoying clients who don't believe or follow your process, which ends in bad client results, low LTV, and wasted time. And at the end of the day, you have to deliver promises. You have to keep people and deliver promises, because on a long enough time horizon, you can get a lot of sales. Look at course creators. They get a lot of sales. These people blow up. They sell a massive course. They get tons of people who are opting into their course. But long term, courses produce less than 1% success rate. And then you see these people blow up like crazy, pump a course, and then a couple of years later, they're off the map. You don't even, you hear nothing. Cool. Along with these disadvantages, these other sectors also maintain the promise of the exact same results, dream outcomes that you're offering. So same dream outcome, potentially a higher perceived likelihood of achievement, but less time delay and less effort and sacrifice. These companies are just providing more value at the end of the day. You can't compete long term against a company that is just outvaluing you. I don't care if you have 100,000 followers on social media. I don't care if I have I get 1 million views. Cool. They're just providing more value than you. Long term, if you really space it out over the course of a year, 2 years, 10 years, the company that provides the most value will beat you, period. It's an obvious no-brainer for prospects to choose the easiest, quickest solution that promises a similar outcome, meaning you've got no upper hand and no selling points over your competition, and you're essentially at their mercy. Okay? So now, then if you even look at this even further, okay, yeah, well, this is harder because they're providing more value. But once I actually take people on, are there any other problems? Yes, unscalability. Now, if you're able to acquire clients even through the competition, the problem you'll run into are the incredibly unscalable factors that are involved with fitness coaching. Many of these other sectors have a huge advantage on you due to productization, like I said before, with selling information versus implementation. Okay? So productization essentially means you're removing the restraints that link your time to the success of your business, and you're getting as close to automating client fulfillment using media and code. So if you look at forms of leverage, the lowest leverage form of delivery will be some sort of done for you, where you're working one-to-one with people. You are the person who are making the plans, you're doing things for people, and you're fulfilling for people. The next form of leverage that goes up in ranking is done with you, where you do some work, they do some work. And then the highest form is do it yourself. So then when you take people on, after all of this competition and all of these restraints, you then run into another problem of unscalability, because now you are offering information and a lack of assets, lack of productization. Okay, does this make sense? I'm hoping this makes sense so far. So having a productized service / product allows you to detach your time inputs from the internal operations and gives you the ability to focus your time on scaling rather than fulfillment. Very simple business quote that you've probably heard before: working on your business rather than working in your business. Even if you're able to take on 20, 30 clients, great. You're doing amazing, awesome. It feels like you're doing good. But now your time input is directly linked to their success. And at the end of the day, time's a limited asset. Money's not. That's exactly what many of these other sectors have realized, and they've productized and are crushing you. So on the front end, yes, more value, but on the back end, also more value, because because now these companies don't have to fulfill. Here, take a product, done, nothing. After the sale is done and they receive the product, done. Okay? So if you're able to detach your time from client fulfillment and automate it, you'll be able to focus instead on actually scaling and working on the business. Unlike most fitness coaches who end up falling into this trap, working 16-hour days to stay afloat, only to plateau as they're limited by time, constantly working to maintain MRR and always on the verge of health problems or dropping several tax brackets. So I hope this is making sense. All in all, unscalability. I just want you to, if you take one thing from this, I want you to take that these companies are just providing more value than you. You're not competing directly against other fitness coaches. You're competing against all of these other factors, all of these other sectors, verticals, niches, etc. And there's several others. The health space is a massive space. And if you think, oh yeah, it's just, gyms, it's just fitness coaches. No, dude, there's a lot of other people in the health and fitness space. It's a massive market. Okay. So now I'm going to tell you the story of how I kind of uncommoditized myself and how I was able to understand this about 2 years ago at this point and totally shift around my business so that I was able to go from pretty much making 7K a month, barely surviving, kind of paycheck to paycheck, to 50K a month, actually 60 now, in less than a year. Okay? So this is the story. If you guys don't know a little bit about myself, maybe listening to this, okay, who the fuck is this guy? Does this guy actually know what he's talking about? Just a random guy on social media? Let me explain this to you. My story. Okay? So, initially, I was in medical school, and I was becoming a doctor. That was kind of my initial goal. I wanted to become a doctor. I wanted to become a surgeon. I wanted to be this high-earning, initially it was a plastic surgeon, cosmetic surgery, and do specialty treatments. And I was in medical school, and I was, this is if you guys are in Canada, I was going to school in London, Ontario, which is like probably the worst spot in Canada. It's just depressing. It's like, it feels like you're in Soviet Russia in like 1940. The buildings are gray. It's like snowing and cold for like 8 months of the year. This is a photo of me in my lecture. This is like what I would eat every day, just like liver and butter because it was like cheap, whatever. Okay. I was quite depressed, broke, and I felt like I was just going to end up the same as everyone else. And literally everyone in school was like, they hated what they did. Okay. But they were sacrificing their youth and 20s to work for the government and make 200 to 300K a year. Everyone, I would talk to people. I would go to lectures, sit in lectures. Hey, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to become a doctor. It's like, okay, are you prepared to go to school and sacrifice 12 years, 10 years to do this? Okay. So then after that, because of my utter sadness, I decided to start a business. I needed a challenge. I decided to start a fitness coaching business because of my past with training and working out. So I have a history, obviously, of working out. I was decently jacked when I was in university. I already did one of the 2 shows, and I had a pretty good transformation. These are some before photos of myself. I was about 160 or so pounds, 155 pounds, and then here's me on stage lean. I was about 180, 179 pounds show. I was at probably around 6%, 5% body fat. This is one day out from my show. I had this transformation. I'm like, okay, I'm going to monetize this. I'm going to take, at least something that I have and try to make some money from it. Okay. So what I did is I scaled my TikTok, right? I had a few thousand followers, whatever, had a couple videos that blew up, 1.7 mil, 200, whatever, doesn't really matter. But my original thesis was just to post one time a day. I forced myself to post. I continually posted and tried to get some sort of audience that would pay me money on behalf of programming or something like that. I had zero idea what I was doing. I'm just like, okay, I'm going to post. I see other people posting. This is going to lead to some money. I'm just going to post organically, and maybe some people will look at my physique and be like, oh my God, you have a great physique, and I'm just going to pay you money. Okay? And I was dead wrong. I vividly remember sitting at my desk and going through my phone. I was checking how many videos I posted and looked at some of the ones that went viral. I'm like, oh my God, 1.7 million, 208. Oh my God. Wow. I'm so cool. Like, these videos blow up. I look so amazing. Ego. Then I asked myself this one question. How much have I made from this in the last 6 months? And after I asked myself that, I checked my bank account. I'm like, fuck, I am broke. This is horrible. Okay? So then I started to invest in myself. I'm like, okay, I don't know enough. This is a knowledge game in the beginning. I have to figure out the steps that I need to take. So I started investing in courses and balancing schoolwork. In the matter of 3 months, I invested over 10K into courses with money I pretty much did not have. Loans, family help, a bunch of stuff that was kind of a total mess, etc. And because of my concentration on my business, I was skipping classes, and my grades were like totally in the gutter. I was like, barely. I would show up to exams after studying for like an hour, sort of thing, to like really difficult. Like this is like pre-med. This is not like a walk in the park sort of thing. This is not like, oh yeah, this is this is not just like a, oh, come take a business administration course. Like, no, this is like calculus, engineering level, fucking chemistry, like very difficult courses, anatomy, all these sort of things that you have to obviously put time input to get results. And I just hated it. And I remember sitting in this is a photo of actually me and my, one of the labs I was doing. And this entire lab, I took a photo because I barely paid attention. The lab administrator was actually getting pissed at me. She's like, you have to pay attention. And I'm like, I'm sorry, like I'm paying attention, but I have to do this, etc. Just negotiate my way out of it, sell my way out of doing all this bullshit, whatever. Use some of the sales tactics that I learned at the time to continue doing my work. And then after that, putting in work for a while, I signed my first client. So pretty much after taking courses and buying some stuff online, started to do cold outreach. I did 1 hour a day of pure cold outreach. And after 6 months or so, I signed my first client for $3,000. After that, I felt like such a G. After this win, I literally was sitting in my lecture. It was a chemistry lecture. I was sitting with my girlfriend at the time. And I get the notification, Stripe, bing, $3,000 on my phone. Get the email. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. 6 months of grinding, 0 results. 6 months. Took a long time for me. Okay? So after this win, I stopped working out for like 2 weeks and was just in celebration mode. I went out with my girlfriend to dinners. I actually bought a new laptop. I went on a trip to Mexico. This was actually me in Mexico with like, the money, like it's $3,000. It's not that much. I spent all of the money I made in 2 weeks. Okay? And then after that, I was like, okay. I pretty much kept going. I was able to do a 7K month, and I was pretty much held at 7K month for a while. Like I was there for a long time. And then once school ended, I'm like, okay, let's see. There was a summer break. So the summer break is like from May to August-ish. And I'm like, okay, I am going to pretty much work on my business. And if I'm able to hit a 10K month during this time, because I was doing like, I had like 7K, had like an 8K, whatever. I told myself, if I'm able to hit a 10K month over the next, from May to August, which is like 5 months, I will 100% drop out of school. Okay? So the first part of the summer, I actually went on another trip with my family, whatever. And then I came back mid-July, grinded, head down, and I hit a 17K month like a month, not even a month, sorry, a couple days before I was actually supposed to go back to school. Had a 17K month. So let me see if I can zoom in on this. 93, I processed some through e-transfer, which is actually Canadian, and then some other bank wires and stuff like that. Okay? PayPal and e-transfer. Okay? After that, I bought a Rolex, like with money, like this is very stupid kind of looking back at what I did, etc. So then I dropped out of school, but I was still living in my hometown, grinded, put my head down for the entire year, put my head down. I discovered all of these, processes that I'm going to share with you today and all these unique insights of how I was able to uncommoditize myself. And then I was able to make 50K in 30 days. Okay. This is older. I just recently hit about a month ago, was like just over 60K. It was like 61 and a half. Okay. But this hard work that I constantly put in paid off. And it wasn't specifically the hard work. It was the insights that I discovered along the way that I'm going to try to save you time with by sharing with you today. So all in all, I hated what I was pursuing, and I felt like it wasn't meant for me. I felt like the universe had more in store for me, had less than 5,000 to my name, started this page, made no money, and then I pretty much went through and discovered these things I'm about to share with you that have allowed me to pretty much live the life that I want to live. Okay? I live a pretty frugal lifestyle. I don't particularly enjoy spending money just like to spend money, but I've indulged on a few trips, car, etc. This was actually in Miami about this was 6 months ago with a few of my buddies who are in sales, etc. Okay? So this is kind of the story of how I was able to go from a commoditized 7K a month, stuck there for a while, not knowing what to do, to really understanding the insights that will allow me to unlock the most amount of leverage to be able to make 50K, to be able to make 60K. Okay? So from here on, what I'm going to share with you is how to combat competition, how to directly compete against these companies and decommoditize yourself so you can still be a fitness coach, but you can be in that top 10% of people who are earning 90% of that market share. Okay? So let's jump into exactly the solutions and the mechanisms that you're going to have to take in order to get ahead. All right. So when it actually comes to combating competitive markets, I want you to take your mindset out of the frame that competition is necessarily a bad thing. I frame this as competition being fairly bad, which it is. Like if there's more people competing, then you're going to have to compete with those people to get the prospects to pay you money. Of course, I'm not arguing with that. But what happens is when there's more competition, it basically lowers the allowance for there to be a median. This pretty much means that most people will either be making a lot of money or making 6 figures a month or several 5 figures a month, for example. The official statistic, like I already shared with you, is the top 10% of online fitness coaches are making 90% of the market share. So it's pretty much an inverse bell curve if you look at it. It's an inverse bell curve. There's an increase in competition. Therefore, it will either select for A players or it won't select at all. And I'm going to illustrate this so you can actually understand this a little bit better. Okay? So if you look at the personal trainer industry revenue, for example, things have it's 12.9 billion people. $12.9 billion worth of revenue. So this means that the top 10% of fitness coaches are doing $11.7 billion worth of revenues if you actually look at this breakdown in actual comparison. That's, for example, just in 2021. This means certain fitness coaches that are doing the top 10% of revenues aren't consuming the same level of information as the masses, and they certainly aren't doing the same things that you are doing on a larger scale. The level of information and knowledge that someone obtains is directly correlated to their actions, and actions can either be leveraged or unleveraged, creating commoditization or uncommoditization. So what I want you to realize is these top 10% of coaches aren't doing the same actions, are not doing the same things that you are doing, because if they were, they would be in the same position. And this level of, if you backtrack it, this level of knowledge that these people have directly correlates to their actions. So to share my screen here and show you this. Number one is knowledge. So you're obtaining a data set, you're obtaining some sort of information on how to do something. 90% of people spend their time here, and although they've done a bunch of info into their brain, they're still pretty dumb because they have no edge. Okay, so knowledge is good, but knowledge leads to comprehension, where you understand something instead of just watching a video. They have to actually understand that. Then there's application of this knowledge. Okay, one of the worst things you can experience, which many educated and smart people experience, is being extremely knowledgeable but broke. So then people apply this knowledge. Then people analyze this knowledge. So they look at the experiment that they ran and they say, okay, what happened? What is the analysis? And then they create synthesis and judgment from this. So what happens is it all starts with knowledge. If people have the incorrect knowledge from the beginning, if people aren't specifically, when I'm talking about you, fitness coaches, health coaches, if you don't have the right knowledge, that's going to lead to incorrect actions. Okay, because you're going to pretty much analyze and only work within the system that is based on that first level of knowledge, which is potentially wrong or not. It's not black or white, it's not right or wrong, but it's leading to a lack of revenue, and it's leading to a lack of leverage in your business, where you're working very long hours and you're not making that much money. Maybe you're making 5 to 10K a month, whatever. But the people who are doing $200,000 a month don't have this same level of base knowledge. They have different knowledge, different systems that they input certain things into. Okay? So what I'm trying to show you is it all starts with knowledge, because that leads to action. This was said in Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. But with this level of competition, it should be unreasonable to not escape commoditization, which is the clearest indicator if someone is not making predictable, consistent income and are below 5 figures. If you're below 5 figures a month right now, this means you are commoditized. Simple as that. So many people are just simply doing the wrong things and expect to be in the top 10%. To help you understand market dynamics better and see how competition for the most part is portrayed wrongly, I will show you a meme, okay? Because this, hopefully, this kind of made a little bit of sense, but I'm going to show you with kind of an analogy here. So let's say you're at a party and the ratio of men to women is 10 to 1. So there's a lot of men and there's barely any women. There's 10 men to 1 woman. Women are X and men are Y in this case, just for the sake of the scenario. If men X are ranked on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least attractive to the market and 10 being the most, let's say that the average guy is a 5 out of 10 in terms of attraction. The attraction of X is directly correlated to his probability of attracting Y. So if the guy's really attractive, then he's going to get more women. If he's really unattractive, he's not going to get a lot of women. But let's say the average guy's a 5 out of 10. So that leads to a 50%, a 5 out of 10 chance of him getting with women, getting a Y. In this scenario, let's say there are 1,100 people at this party. Let's say it's a massive party, just for the sake of this. 10,000 are X and 1,000 are Y. The average X is 5 out of 10, and female attraction is negligible. So we're not really looking at the attraction of females as men who aren't the selectors. Let's say men will just get with any Y, for example. And keeping in mind the fact that the top 10% of males are connecting with 90% of the Y, a graph to mimic this would look something like this. Okay? So, for example, if attraction of X is plotted on the X, if attraction of X, attraction of women are X and men are Y. So if the attraction of X is plotted on the Y-axis and the X-axis is plotted as a correlated value of attraction from the females, every increase by factor of 1 of males increases attraction exponentially, and the majority of males are 5 out of 10. So this is simply how market attraction works. Okay? So the median male is a 5. So this is the attraction. He's a 5. If you bump up 1 and go to from 5 to, let's say, 6, which is right here, it's exponential. Because we have to look at the breakdown of the top 10% are connecting with 90%, and the top 10% of fitness coaches are connecting with 90% of the market share. So it's an exponential graph. And the majority of males are 5 out of 10, which is right here, this point right here, this median point. But if you increase by 1, the factor of which you attract is also not increased by 1, it's increased by more than 1, so it's exponential, which breaks down like this on a bell curve, which the majority of men are sitting in this middle. And if you move slightly into a more attractive zone, your odds increase exponentially. Okay? Because if it was fair, it would be 50% of fitness coaches are producing 50% of the market share. That would be an even market share distribution. But it's not. It's selective. It's competitive towards the most attractive, aka the most amount of value these coaches are giving, plotted exponentially and plotted like a bell curve. So with this case in mind, following the actions of the majority and are expecting to be a 5 out of 10 and receive extreme returns is a stupid way to think. Thinking, oh, I'm a 5 out of 10, I'm providing 5 out of 10 value, I'm just going to keep doing cold DMs, I'm just going to keep, posting organically, I'm going to keep running ads and expect to receive 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10 returns is crazy because your value, your attraction value is low. You're a 5 out of 10. How are you expecting that? But if you move up to a 6, you move up to a 7, you move up to a 10, it's exponential. It changes exponentially how you're able to attract the people within this market, aka that 90%, get into that top 10% that receive 90% of the market. So I hope this kind of makes sense. It may be a little bit confusing, but I want you to take this, understand that most people are sitting in the middle, and being in the middle will crush you. You're going to get crushed in the middle, doing the majority of the actions in the middle, having the same acquisition system of everyone in the middle, sharing the same insights on your organic content. Oh, here's how to lose weight. Here's how to track your calories. Just, put it in MyFitnessPal. Dude, that's basic information. That is 5 out of 10 attraction. That is 5 out of 10 value. I'm going to make you a fitness program. Bro, I can go on ChatGPT and make a fitness program right now. It's probably better. Okay? And the thing is, as soon as competition also increases, which is an increase in supply, so there's more people, more prospects, more customers, demand usually follows to fulfill the supply. It's very simple. Okay? So supply increases, therefore demand should follow. Therefore, you can base it on the fact that every competitive market has such a strong need for businesses in the top 10% and only businesses in the top 10%. Period. So this supply, this demand, which is followed by this increase in supply, it's demand only for this top 10% of the value. And when there are more 5 out of 10 businesses entering the market, it pushes the supply upwards, and demand increases and selects for the top 10%, top percentage of the massive supply. So it's always like, if you look at natural selection, for example, let me just open up a Miro board so you can kind of understand this, because this applies to nature and evolution as well. So for example, let's say there's an environment, okay, and there are a bunch of pigs, okay, male pigs, okay? There's, let's say, 5 pigs, and 2 of these pigs have a special adaptation where they can survive storms. Over enough long time horizon, when there's enough storms that are done, maybe a couple of these will survive, but over time, these 2 with the adaptation will pass on their genes and survive because they are attractive to this environment on a longer time horizon. This is evolution, and the same thing is applied to this. Okay, so this median gets more populated but leaves a massive wealth creation opportunity for those who are able to capture the demand and be in the top 10%. It's very straightforward. So this is a bell curve distribution where I want you to just look at the blue bell curve. The more increase of people coming in, this means that there's more people populating into this middle, consuming the same information of, oh, I'm just going to send cold DMs. Oh, I'm just going to be a 5 out of 10. And it's populating the middle. The middle is increasing in volume. There's more people in the middle. It's not like red where it's like, there's a lot of people out here who are really attractive and there's a lot of people in the middle, but there's a lot of people out here. No. It is very heavily populated in the middle. So this means that there is a massive wealth creation opportunity for those who are able to consume different inputs than the middle and be more attractive. So all in all, what does this mean? This means that competitive markets are a good thing. There's always going to be competition. There's always going to be selection. But if you are able to be these sort of people who can adapt, you will survive. So it's not the fastest, it's not the strongest that survive. It's the people who are most quickly to adapt. Okay, so some of my clients who used to be in the median and quickly implemented what I'm about to share with you and made a lot more money, and a lot more money than they knew what to do with, because a lot of these people came to me, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing this basic stuff, I'm posting, I'm running ads, I'm sending cold DMs, or my offer is this, I'm not really specified, I'm doing like all of these basic, I'm helping people lose weight. Bro, you're in the middle. You're getting crushed by all these other companies, and you're getting also crushed by other fitness coaches. Okay? For example, Paul, he went from 20K a month to 65K a month. He makes about 150K per month in added LTV every single month. So that's month to month in LTV, lifetime value. So what he did is he implemented a non-commoditized offer. He charges 7K up front for 3 months in a middle-aged corporate market. And once we implemented our acquisition system, it was absolute game over. If you go on my YouTube, he's linked. He has achieved crazy growth because we were able to push him into creating more value and being uncommoditized, aka being more attractive. For example, Adam, he was at literally $3,000 to $5,000 a month. I think he had like a 7, 8K month, but median around 3 to 5 to hitting 40K in 1 month. Okay, so this is Adam. This is a screenshot. I'll zoom in on this. He had, not to be super cheesy, but gratitude time for everything thus far. This isn't me breaking up with you. I'm just genuinely grateful. 29K month. And then he also collected a few through, this is just through Stripe in 1 month. But he also collected a few through cash, some other stuff as well. Okay. He was also heavily in the middle. Jamie was at 50K a month and shot to 100K a month. We put together a 12-week non-commoditized offer, sold over 30K in 30 days. Jamie is in the middle upper class niche. So like 40 to 65 year olds, 30 to 65 year olds roughly. Okay. She's also on my YouTube. Daz, he makes 35K a month with a non-commoditized offer. We started together, implemented several mechanisms with the Southwestern Asian market. So this is like the Indian market. Everyone's like, oh, Indians are, they're broke. They don't have money. It is technically true, but we were able to do it with him. Here's a screenshot of one of the first 2 weeks after we launched. So September 9th to October 1st. That's about 2 weeks, about 16K. And then, following that, another, I think that after that was 13 and a half as well. So this is Daz. He also has a decent sized audience as well. So yeah, these are the same people who were stuck in kind of this middle ground, doing the same actions, following these same things, but they weren't as attractive. It doesn't really matter. The actions, like the actions that you're doing matter, But if the actions resemble those that are the populous, that are the 5 out of 10 actions, you can do more volume with that 5 out of 10 action, but you're only going to get 5 out of 10 results. It's like being that 5 out of 10 guy at the party and thinking, oh, I just have to approach more women. I just have to do more volume. Doesn't really matter. You're just not attractive enough. Okay? So I hope this is making sense so far. So what is the commoditization trap? What are most people doing to be kind of stuck in this middle? So when people are offering the same solution that is identical or merely identical to other competitors, the only other way for you to compete is on pricing. A good example of this is by looking at gold. Gold is gold. If you buy gold from the Middle East or gold from America, the price will be the exact same because the product is exactly the same. So this is, if you look at commodity markets, what does that specifically mean? Oil, for example, is oil. If you get oil from Canada or if you get oil from Saudi Arabia, sure, the pricing may be like slightly different, like very slightly different. But at the end of the day, it's a commodity. The offering is the exact same. Therefore, the only other way to compete is on pricing. So whoever can price it the lowest, because the service is the same, will win. And when you're offering a service that is the same as others, you quickly fall into something I call the commodity trap, where in order to stay competitive, you compete on price. So this is one of the biggest things that these middle ground people do, because their offerings are so identical. Oh, I'm just going to build programs for you. Like it kind of boggles my mind a little bit. And what happens is the following. Okay, so marketing and sales systems are commoditized, same top of funnel content, same top of funnel organic ads, cold DM, etc., same styles, leading without uniqueness, same thing as everyone, selling instead of educating, is base level stuff. Let me zoom in. Okay? And your offer is the same commoditized service as others. Oh, I'm going to help you with meal plan, whatever. You price competitively because it's pretty much the same. It's, oh, I'm going to couple $100 a month, or pay me $1,000 or $2,000. You really think someone's going to commit to you and really execute a program if they're spending $1,000 for like a couple months? Like, really take this in for a second. You think someone's going to transform their habits? You think someone is going to make a total life-changing shift after spending $1,000 with you? Think about this for a second. Okay, so you're pricing competitively. People then buy your service because of the price. Commodity. Oh, you're giving me gold cheaper. No shit, I'm going to buy it from you rather than the other guy because you're still offering the same solution. So people are buying solely based on price. And that's another flywheel that you can get into, where because they're coming on price, what happens? Customers don't have 100% emotional commitment. They're not invested. They don't have a level of commitment. And with fitness coaching, like I said, it's difficult. It's difficult. So whoever can get, like, for them to execute, they have to put in work. They have to go to the gym. They have to watch what they eat. That takes effort. That takes sacrifice. Can't go out. You can't drink alcohol. And if they're coming in with a low emotional investment, what is that going to lead to? Bad client results. Clients are also very demanding as well. Do you ever really notice that the people who pay you the least are the most demanding? The people who give you the hardest time about giving you $500, people who say, oh, $1,000, those people, even though if they do give you the $500, those people are the worst people to work with. They're so demanding. This is something that I've noticed, and you probably have noticed too. And the client results are bad. What does that lead to? This leads in more of your time being diluted, servicing clients, and less time acquiring clients and building as well. Okay? Because they're more demanding. Therefore, you have to service these people to keep them happy. Okay? They have no results. What does that lead to? No case studies and less revenue. So you're charging less. You have no case studies because people aren't getting results. Harder to get future clients without proof. And what you do is you just keep dropping the price to try to keep up with this level of competition. And what does that do? You drop price again. Oh, I get more customers. But then what are they doing? People are buying because price. Do you ever jump on a call and people are like, oh yeah, I'm talking with a bunch of other fitness coaches right now, or I'm talking with a bunch of other companies. I'm just going to kind of see what's going on here. I'm going to see your price. How much you charge, man? Right? Yeah. This used to happen to me a lot. Okay? That's it. It's like a girl coming up to you. If you're a guy, maybe this applies to you more, but it's like a girl coming up to you and being like, "Oh, I'm only gonna like you, not based on all of the other things that you potentially provide, but simply based on how much money you make." One specific factor. Okay, so whoever has the most money. So it's the same thing. Every other factor is out of the equation. You want people to genuinely have a burning desire to work with you and be like, hey, I have wanted to work with you for a while. I have seen your stuff. You don't offer the same solution as other people. How much you charge? Oh, shoot, you charge 10K? Okay. I really want to work with you. Therefore, I'm going to give you that 10K. I trust you. I value you. I have genuine burning desire, as one of my mentors says, genuine burning desire to work with you, not just, oh, price. Oh, you make 100K a year? Okay, let's work together. Like, no. Cool. So, out of all the other verticals competing for the same outcome as fitness coaches, especially online coaches, are pretty much fighting for these scraps, like I said above. What BDollar companies are doing, as previously stated, is they're doing implementation over information. They have more value in the value equation, less effort and sacrifice. So how do you uncommoditize everything? So this is where we're really getting into, okay, yes, this makes sense, but how do you really purely uncommoditize? Because you can commoditize your front end, where your messaging, your ads, your acquisition system, potentially pricing, and then, like I said, back end as well. Because if you're working heavily within these, for these people, you're still commoditized, in my opinion. Cool. So you can either be commoditized on the front end, where your perceived value is based on very similar offerings to competitors and you're not charging enough, or both. It could be both. You can be commoditized on the back end, where your services and fulfillment are the same as competitors and you're not solving for every possible gap. Not solving for every possible gap in the prospect transformation and building assets that deliver for you, not selling implementation, not charging high ticket enough with a clear end date, not marketing using leverage systems that focus on education rather than selling, and not marketing using unique insights rather than commoditized information. I'm going to go through all of these right now so that you clearly understand all of them. Okay, so price value discrepancy. Usually things in society are sold for what they're worth. As one of my mentors, Richard Cooper, states, things are valued as they're valued. I was at a conference with him. I'm like, dude, what is this whole thing about value about? He said, dude, at the end of the day, things that are valued at X go for X. Very simple. You buy a pack of cigarettes, there's no way in hell you're spending $100 for a pack that you normally spend $20 on. So what we need to do is, if we're going to get out of this commoditization trap, it starts with price. So how do we justify charging higher dollars? How do we justify this value on both extremes with this new offer? The first thing we have to do is map out exactly what we're doing. This is an exercise I do with all of my partners and clients. Okay, so all in all, we map out everything that we're doing so that we can actually justify specifically what the offer is. When you're servicing low-level broke clients who are generally broke, there are very limited ways for you to scale without taking on massive amounts of complexity and efficiency. You need to increase prices, number one. Okay? But you need to justify this price as well. You can't just say, oh, I'm charging 10K and you're getting the same thing as what other fitness coaches charges. It's a game that's going to lead to zero sum in the end. So for example, if you compare Porsche and Toyota has a much higher production rate, employee numbers, manufacturing facility, and overall complexity compared to Porsche. Maybe Toyota makes more revenue than Porsche, but the amount of complexity needed to produce such high volumes is not worth it, especially translated to the coaching niche. So your first step is to make sure your offer is positioned to a higher level market. There will be less people in the total addressable market, but again, we are trying to make more with less volume and inefficiency needed. We don't want to play the volume game. We don't want to do the 5 out of 10 guy who just does a bunch of volume. It's it's very commoditized. We want to be the Porsche, less complexity, higher revenue or higher cost per sale, cost per unit, so then we can make potentially the same but do less on the front end and the back end. So we need to justify the value. Like I said, we have to solve for literally every gap. Your offer needs to be positioned to target a very specific group of people trying to achieve a specific transformation. For example, moms who are dealing with menopause, who are looking to lose 30 pounds in 12 weeks and tone up. This is one of the offers Paul actually runs that I showed you above. He's crushing right now. This takes you immediately out of a large amount of immediate competition because you are now in a smaller sub-niche specified in a different transformation. So instead of you being in the market of, oh, I help people with weight loss, there's a lot of other people doing that. So immediately when you say I help moms with menopause, you take yourself out of that market. So for example, do cardiologists compete with general physicians? maybe indirectly, but they're not in the same market. And you need to solve for every gap that would limit the prospect from seeing success within this program. It should be easier to make something specific that is asset heavy. Okay? So you need to solve for every gap. Like I showed here, I'm going to share with you this exercise a little bit later, but just to give you an idea, what is every failure scenario that is limiting people from seeing success? Is it accountability? Is it motivation? Is it the actual logistics of the programming? Is it potentially some sort of assets that they can refer to? What are the things that are stopping people? What's the failure scenario? And how can we build mechanisms around that to increase the amount of value that we're offering? This is a very big thing because we can't just go and increase prices. All right, cool. So after that, like I said, we need to make sure we're specialized when it comes to our market. We need to make sure we're 100% specialized. Like I said, it puts you in a totally different niche. When you're saying, I help anyone do anything fitness related, oh, you want to lose muscle, or you want to lose fat, you want to gain muscle, you're getting people who are all over the fitness market. Person here that wants to lose weight, person here that wants to gain muscle, person here that wants to do a bodybuilding show, person here that just wants to lose belly fat, person here that wants to, tone up their arms, person here that wants to get healthier. Okay? It's unspecialized. Cardiologists charge more than general physicians. Why is that? So you need to be specialized in one specific niche and sub-niche and vertical. So you become specialized, you work with only one client archetype, similar starting points and goals. And because of this, now this refers to the back end as well, you're going to be able to create one process for these goals. And you're going to be able to validate this process with low entropy. When you're doing this process and you have people who are scattered all over, what's going to happen is very simply, you're going to have to create new systems for each of these people. And it's going to be a bitch to validate. It's going to be a very difficult time to validate because you're getting people who are here. How are you going to validate that? How are you going to be able to do, think about this for a second. You're going to take someone on doing fat loss. You're going to take someone on who wants to gain muscle. Those are totally different processes. And then how do you make your back end better if people have different goals and different transformations? Well, you're going to have to do a new system for each person. And then if you compare that to one person doing one thing, that's very easy to see because there's a lot of data around that. A lot of people doing one thing. Oh, most people are saying that this part of the process is messing them up. Or people are saying, oh, well, it'd be really good if I had this thing. 5-10 people say that. Okay, cool. That's resonance. That is data. Most people are saying that. We have data points. Okay, we can now shift to make this better. The main concept is specializing. You're able to achieve market resonance, so easier sales because you're talking to one person. You're going to decrease workload as well because you're doing one process. You're going to get consistently low entropy data with one process. Low entropy is like chaos, so low chaos data. There's not people all over. You're going to validate your process, and you're going to charge high ticket for that process because it's specialized. And like I said, what are the disadvantages? You're going to have a harder time getting clients. When you're calling out a specific person, that specific person will respond. You'll have to charge less. Non-specialists have to charge less for the same or equivalent service. You'll be viewed as a commodity. Because you help everyone, the market will view you as disposable and replaceable. Your clients won't get good results. Your clients will have a low emotional investment due to price and lack of specialty, which treats you as a commodity, and therefore will not take the process 100% serious. Think about an online program like Beachbody, on the online Beachbody program. The success rate on that is, I saw it's like 0.01%. It's like very low. It's very low. And Beachbody on Demand is cheap and targets everyone. You don't want to make that play. You don't want to be the Toyota that has to push a ton of volume on a low attractive offer. Number 5, you'll have to create new systems and processes for each new client goal. Someone wants to lose weight for a bodybuilding show, they'll have a different protocol, etc. And like I said, you won't be able to validate your systems. You'll have so many clients, each doing different things. You won't be able to validate one process. The only way you validate your systems are with data. You get data by working with clients, but if each client is different, your data is spread thin. You want to dig deep with data, not dig out. Very important. Bruce Lee quote, I fear the man who practices one kick 1,000 times rather than the guy who practices 1,000 kicks one time. It's the same concept. And over time, what this leads to is you doubting yourself and losing confidence. Oh, I haven't gotten sales in a while. Oh, this thing. Oh, I'm not making that much money. You get in your head. And then what happens? That refers to you being on sales calls and being like, oh, I feel bad doing this. People aren't getting results. You start to doubt yourself. You lose confidence. This is what happens to online trainers when they're helping everyone. They become a commodity and they immediately fall into this commoditization trap. The only way to escape this rat race is to be precise. Like I said, first on that who. We're going to jump into the other stuff a little bit later. As Sam Altman states, you have to find a small market in which you can get a monopoly and then can quickly expand. Small market in the beginning. Don't start broad. Be like, oh, I'm just going to help people in the beginning because then more people are going to find me and then I'll have an easier... That stuff never works. It never works thinking broad in the beginning. You have less status already. So thinking that you're going to jump into a big market and just play the game and make a lot of money because there's more people in that market. Yeah, there are more people in that market, but there's more competition in that market. Okay? So competitors understand that if they're going to compete with you, they want a chance of winning. The likelihood of them winning is low if they're competing with someone whose sole purpose is to serve a hyper-specific niche while they are broad in their targeting. So if everyone's, oh, I'm the 5 out of 10, I'm in that middle ground, I'm the 5 out of 10. They're doing the 5 out of 10 actions. But if someone comes in and they're hyper specific, aka more value, you're gonna have a hard time competing. So I'm gonna share with you this document of how specifically we're able to build this mechanism. Okay, and this is what I do with all my clients. So, for example, someone is undisciplined. I'm just gonna make up a couple with you. Okay? Someone is undisciplined. Let's say someone is having a hard time sending check-ins. That's another one. These people cannot restrain from food. Okay? What are certain mechanisms? This is the failure scenario. They can't restrain from food. They can't follow the meal plan. What does that lead to? How do we resolve this? What is the mechanism to avoid this? They can't restrain from food. Okay. How do we keep their goals in front of mind? It's very hard when that goal is directly in front of you to not restrain from that. Okay? So what does that delivery process look like? Are you doing it for them? Is that an asset that you give them? What is the impact of doing this? Probably pretty high. Okay? Whose responsibility is this? Is this you that's sending it to them, or is it a service? Is it in-house? Is it given? Is it the client's responsibility? Whose responsibility is this? Okay, so in this scenario, it'd probably be in-house. What's the urgency of this? Probably quite high. What's the delivery complexity of building a mechanism to keep their goals close to them? Probably it's not crazy. Something to make sure that their goals are front of mind. And what we're doing is we're mapping out each of these failure scenarios for this specific market and building these mechanisms so that, and then we obviously rank these mechanisms as well. So let's say, this urgency is lower, for example, then you can be like, okay, this is not super important. You want to really make sure you're hammering the ones that matter. And you can go through, and I even did this with my company as well. For example, ad spend is too much. Okay, are we setting proper budgets? Are we setting expectations correctly? Okay, what is that delivery process? Okay, let's say lead quality is bad. What are we doing? Are we implementing a higher intent form? Are there questions on that form? Are we targeting by zip code? Okay, if these people don't have a proven offer, are we going to have a proven offer? Okay, what is that? Are we consulting them? Okay, what's the impact of having a proven offer? Very high. Whose responsibility is this? I'm going to give them an asset so they can figure it out. Okay, what's the urgency of this? Very high. Delivery, quite low. Okay, so we're going through. I did this with my company. You have to do this with your company and build these mechanisms around this for this specific offer. And the same thing that I'm sharing with you here, Alex Hormozi did within his company that I'm about to share with you. That's going to probably blow your mind a little bit. Okay? So let me share with you how Alex Hormozi implemented this into Gym Launch, and he scaled his business to $3.6 million a month with Gym Launch. Okay, so looking at Alex Hormozi here, Alex started obviously Gym Launch. And what he did is he kind of mapped out, okay, what are the failure scenarios of most gyms? He owned gyms in the past. He kind of understood this as well. So he had data around this, number one. He understood gyms, paper thin margins. They're spending 3.2K a month on rent, 3 to 5K a month on trainers, equipment fees, ads, admin fees, etc. This stuff added up. Okay. He had low capacity, gym members, all of these problems, high turn rate, low prices, monthly recurring, etc. He mapped out these failure scenarios and he pretty much understood a lot of these things where he could map out and build a mechanism for these gyms in his gym launch license that he could give to them so they can solve all of these problems. Okay. Turning gyms from an average gym to a highly profitable gym. Okay. So the thing that made Alex so successful, that he did this mostly with himself and his own gyms beforehand. He could tell a gym owner he was in the exact same spot. This stuff also helped. Okay. So he did this stuff. He built these mechanisms to avoid failure. So, bad margins. Okay, I'm going to build a $600 upfront 6-week challenge. Okay, another problem. No proven way to get leads that is predictable. He had proven ad targeting sales funnels, no nurturing, no sales scripts, no fulfillment, no retention. Okay, all of the solutions he mapped out to the problems. Okay, and it pretty much took him from or took these gyms that were, I think the average gym that worked with him made 40K in the first 16 weeks extra of working with him, which is absolutely amazing. Okay. So he pretty much did this. And now you can pretty much apply the same sort of methodology of, okay, instead of just offering a fraction of the value, instead of just being like, oh, I'm just going to help gyms, or I'm going to help these people just with meal plans or a fraction of the value to this specific market, you're helping them with everything. Okay. You are pretty much in your coaching business, not just, meal plan, workout plan, bring them from random client with desire to reach change. I want to, whatever, here's a meal plan, here's a workout plan. Okay. You're building massive mechanisms. Okay. Onboarding, education, accountability, customized meal plans, customized workout plans, scenario avoidance protocols. Okay. Potentially back-end communities as well to provide more motivation, other assets that can be distributed to these clients. Okay. So he did this, and he was able to do, so his pricing was 16K for 16 weeks. And then after the 16 weeks, he kind of upsold the downsell to 3.2K a month. And he had 1,000 gyms paying him 3.2K a month, which is absolutely crazy. So he had his first gym launch offer here, okay, with his high ticket price. And then he ascended people to this. Okay. This is just an overview of what he was doing. But for you, you're going to have to do the exact same thing so you can build more mechanisms so you can charge more value. Because at the end of the day, pricing is way above the median is going to immediately take you out of this commoditization trap. It's the biggest lever probably that you can pull. But like I said, you have to justify the value and you have to give more value because you're charging more value. It's very simple. Okay. So the easiest way to solve for every gap is through asset-based consulting, where you give them assets and position it as they're buying the process you've created. You are not renting the house out to people, you are allowing them to buy the house. For example, when you solve every gap, there's difficulty in doing this at scale. Having productive assets that can be valued altogether as a package that you give to these people as your mechanism is the easiest, most efficient way to solve this. Okay? So Alex Hormozi did this. I kind of share it here as well that I do with my clients. But if you take a look, you're going to have to, maybe you pause right here and you can read through this. But, what are your online coach failure mechanisms? Lack of attention, owning attention, low quality leads. This is in your coaching business. And then for your clients, lack of financial means. Okay, how are you going to get these people to afford more money? You're going to use payment firms to get payouts, pricing breakdowns. Okay, client does not follow meal plan. Client does not want to give up X thing. Are you going to have protocol breakdowns? Client likes to do in-person training and is hesitant to do online. Are you going to do an investment breakdown so that they can see that this is providing more value? Okay, are you going to do comparisons to logically prove? What about sales scripts as well, so that emotionally they're invested and logically they're also invested as well? So if you can get investment on both of those behalves, very important. Okay, so you're going to do this as well. On top of this, you have to make sure that your new commoditized offer that you're building has an end date. So you're going to charge money up front. And this is not going to be some sort of MRR, $300 a month, $200 a month. This is going to be a specific program for X amount of time. So let's say it's 5 months, 4 months, 6 months. And you're going to charge a specific amount of money for that specific person with a specific transformation, like I said, menopause. I gave the menopause example above what Paul is doing. It's a lot above. Okay, let me just jump up to it quickly. Yeah, so Paul right up here is doing this commoditized offer for menopause moms who want to lose weight and tone up. Okay, specific offer, specific person. All right, and he's charging an end date for that. So his process is for 3 months. Okay, and he charges $7,000 for those 3 months. So one of the most critical insights that I've gotten from scaling my B2B business is people will pay 10 times more when there's an end date to the payment cycle. When I was in the B2B space, I was offering, 1.5, 2.5K a month with no end date. 80% of my clients after working with me for 2 months would churn. Was it because my service was bad? No. Many of them would see increases in 10 to 20K per month, but they saw it as an expense rather than an investment. Oh, I'm just going to pay you money until like the end of time. I'm just going to keep paying you 2K a month, 3K a month forever, right? They're already thinking, okay, I have to end things eventually because if I don't, then it's just going to be billed forever. Think about this for a second. Those charges, those monthly charges, you're not like, okay, it's a one-time thing. You're kind of like, oh, fuck, next month is going to hurt. Next month. And you're already anticipating the next month. So you have to make sure that there's an end date to this because people will pay more for the end date. Okay? People over time didn't want to rent the house. They wanted to own the system that they were renting from me. Charge up front, give them the assets, give them everything that we mapped out here for that specialized market, over here for that specialized market. And then you can charge a lot more. So instead, I priced my service 10 times higher than competitors and was able to, like I said, justify the value and have an end date. Okay? So how do you market your service to show customers you're not like others in the most leveraged way possible? Like I shared above, up here, this flywheel that I created. Marketing and sales systems are commoditized. You're doing the same top of funnel, 5 out of 10 attraction. You're leading without uniqueness. You're selling instead of educating. So how do you lead from the front end in the most leveraged way possible? This is going to be a very important thing for those who maybe push organically, maybe you do ads, cold DMs, all that sort of stuff, because this is going to change your perception on marketing for this niche as a whole. Okay? The thing is, with massive amounts of competition, even the coaches who seem to be at the top aren't at the top. Okay? Some guys with massive audience that you think are making like multiple hundreds of $1,000s a month are only doing like 5 to 7K a month. Like crazy stuff. Like you look at the guys, oh my God, this guy has like 300,000 followers. Okay. Oh my God, he must be doing crazy numbers. A lot of these guys are doing like barely any numbers. Okay. So when I say the top 10% are producing 90%, you think automatically guys with big audiences, which I want you to just totally cancel from your brain. But the thing is, a lead is not worth the same as every other lead. Okay. This concept is the exact same compared to your audience. Audience sizes are not equal. Leads are not equal. Most fitness coaches will take the strategy of trying to scale a large organic audience and push people to a link in bio or cold DMs or ads. Okay? I want you to remember that the leads are not equal. Okay? If you get a lead from your organic or from your ads that jumps on a call, yeah, I'm not super invested. That's a lot different than someone who is purely educated and has been watching you for 6 months and knows everything about you and trusts you and has genuine burning desire to work with you. Genuine burning desire. Please make sure you have that in the front of your mind. Genuine burning desire. Cool. The main problem with fitness coaches on the front end is that they aren't focused on building high quality leverage forms of media that are focused on unique insights. Instead, they're trying to sell rather than educate. You are not trying to sell. Yeah, you are trying to get sales, but you have to lead with education. That is the biggest differentiating factor on the front end. It's all about who can mass educate for the cheapest and not entertain. You want to mass educate with uniqueness. Not, oh, here's how to do, here's how to make a meal plan with MyFitnessPal. No one cares about that. Uniqueness and then leading with education. Okay? You're not trying to sell. You are indirectly providing value up front. Those people will get educated, and then long term, they will view you and have genuine burning desire for you. We have all looked on someone's page before who's a fitness coach and immediately associated them with other coaches, even if they have a great physique and lots of followers. Okay? Lots of followers, great physique, this stuff doesn't matter. It's about who can educate. Look at me. I don't have that many subscribers I have like 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Barely anything. Barely like 1,000 subscribers. Yet I make a lot more than people who have 100,000 subscribers, or even people who like I have 1,500 followers on Instagram. I don't have a lot of followers. Okay? Why am I able to make more money than a lot of these people? It's because I'm able to educate people. I'm able to generate attention, own that attention, educate that attention, and then convert that attention. This is the biggest thing, the biggest lever that I was able to pull on the front end, okay, minus price, minus all of that stuff, to make people educated and have that burning desire with me. So education over selling, and this is related to all acquisition channels, ads, cold DMs as well. Instead of leading with, I'm going to ask you some qualifying questions and then try to push you to a sales call. People are scared of sales calls right now. Do you think these people, like, think about the average person who's looked at a bunch of other fitness coaches. Oh, here's my Calendly. Go book a time. Let's book a call. The wording of book a call is scary. It has scared so many prospects that they're like, guard is up against that right now. Okay? So you have to lead with education, and this is related to all acquisition channels. Cold DMs, ads, everything. Educate on a mass scale. Then you'll have people who have genuine burning desire on a mass scale. X leads to Y. So what most people in the market are currently doing on the front end: running ads, cold DMs, posting short form, trying to convert a large quantity of people quickly. It's the wrong strategy. They're only focused on getting views on platforms like Instagram or YouTube and pushing them directly into a sales call right away. Everyone has an obsession with views. Oh, I got views, I have followers. This stuff doesn't matter. I want you to remove this from your brain. Likes, followers, this stuff does not equal cash. Okay? As Steve Jobs says, the best form of marketing is education. So simply getting a large number of views and getting famous is actually a net negative. So why are you optimizing for it? Because you're going to get more people who are not in your niche, more people who you're not targeting. Okay? When you're making a YouTube video and you're calling out a specific person and that video gets 20 views, okay? But it's so niched. Niched content is killing right now. Extremely niched, boring content is doing amazing at the moment. Okay? So why are you optimizing for this massive audience? Because views virtually mean nothing if the wrong sort of people are watching. They do not even gauge whether a video is good or not. It just shows how relevant it is to many people. Instead, optimize for quality reach, not quantity reach. Okay? Rather than trying to convert a large quantity quickly, educating a large audience over a longer period of time will actually yield better results. Even small audiences on a high ticket offer with pure education, like I said with myself as a case study, does much better than mass entertainment and reach. I've had several people who have been in my database for several months, and then for like 6 months of me educating them, they will convert. On average, someone will be in my pipeline for 1 month before converting. This is exactly why so many people don't see any success with ads or cold outreach or content. It's because they're trying to make everything direct response style. I want you to try to avoid direct response for the next 6 months. Focus purely on providing value and education, and you will see how quickly, not quickly, but how much energy you build up in education where people will come to you and they will give you objectionless closes for multiple thousands of dollars. But again, you have to make sure you're niche, you have to make sure you're specialized. And the thing is, when you're doing this direct response style advertising, where you're sending cold DMs and you're, running ads, you're only targeting 3% of the market, which is in that buying now mode. That's 3% of the market. Okay? Because those people are looking to buy now. You send them a DM, by luck, these people are ready to go. Okay? But what about the people who are not problem aware? What about the prospects who are not, who are problem aware? What about the people who are in information gathering mode? These people, okay, this other 97% of people will resonate with your education. Because what if you make a YouTube video that's long, or a form of media that is distributed through ads that is long, and it takes this not problem aware person to problem aware, okay? And then when you make them problem aware, oh shoot, that provides a level of urgency. Oh, I have a problem, I got to get a solution. You identify that with them, and then now they're in information gathering mode. Oh, let's look at a few others. Oh, this guy's providing more value. Now you're taking the 97% that you wouldn't have gotten with direct response style, and you're capturing them because you're leading with education. And this education, okay, is directed to, it's a lot. Everyone is competing for the 3%, and no one is competing for the 97%. And it actually boggles my mind. because everyone's direct response, ads, buy now, buy now. That's 3% of the market. Why are you competing for that? Okay? Pushing these people straight into a sales call right away before you educate them is also a further waste of lead value compared to if they were further educated. It's very straightforward. The further they are educated, the more they'll understand and agree with the solution, the more they'll want to implement the solution. So why would you catch them early on when they are minimally educated, when you can further educate them and close them for higher cash collected? Okay, like I said, lead value is malleable because prospect A that comes from ads, that is cold direct response, that gives you their name, phone number, email, is a lot different than someone who's watched your content for a long time or has consumed educational content from you that is niched towards them and book a call with you. Those people are a lot more valuable. Lead value A is not equal to lead value B. When you understand that you need to generate more attention and more education in your niche, you can easily outcompete others who are simply trying to capture attention of the buy now people and are just focused on being unleveraged forever and selling their way to 10K a month. You can sell your way to 10K a month. I did that. That's why I was at 7 to 8K a month, because I was a salesman. I'm great at sales. Sales is amazing. Okay? People who join my process with me, I teach them sales. It is important. Yes, you have to learn sales. But there becomes a capacity with selling. Do you think Jeff Bezos with Amazon, do you think he's getting on sales calls and pitching people, objection handling? Oh, why do you want to use eBay? Right? No. He's educating people on why Amazon is the best and fulfilling on that education. Okay? So no one has ever built massive organizations just by being a salesman. In my opinion, the best form of marketing is education. Targeted to your niche and vertical, has to be specific to that niche and vertical. Especially in the beginning, the last thing you should be creating is entertainment. You are a utility at the start, and you should educate and gain status from that education before trying to get status from being an entertainer. Always start with utility. When you develop a larger audience and people respect and admire you, then you can include this style of content. Okay? So when you go to Home Depot and you buy a drill, do you expect that drill to, entertain you? No, it's there to provide a utility, and you and you respect it because it provides utility. So you have to start with specific educative content towards that niche. And then once you gain status, you can make that shift because you have no status from the beginning and you're going to look like a clown by making education or entertainment content. Okay? But what kind of education should you specifically create? Because there's people who do provide education, which is already good. But how do you take this to the next level and really hammer down? And this is where we get into Nate Belmar, because Nate Belmar does an excellent job with this. And he's doing like $200 and something thousand a month with his school community. Okay, and there's a reason why. Okay, so if you look at Nate Belmar, all of his content is focused on unique insights. What is a unique insight? A unique insight is something that you know to be true that other people don't. Okay, so all of his content, biohacking health secrets. Okay, he's talking about stuff about longevity, fitness, etc. He has authority because he acts as the founder of certain concepts or the bearer of presenting to an audience. He's constantly searching for new health secrets, okay, that can be presented to his audience, giving more status and authority. He's traveling in Asia. He's saying, "Oh, I went on this trip to Japan, and I lived with monks for X amount of time, and I figured this thing out about losing weight." Like, that's a lot different. That's a lot more. That's if everyone's saying lose weight by counting calories, and then someone's coming in and saying something completely different, you're changing their perception, you're changing their paradigm, you're giving them an epiphany switch. And what that does is that status from that shift is associated with you. Okay, so overall, Nate bases his business on the approach of secrets. Rather than taking the same approach as everyone else and saying count calories or do keto, he looks for unconventional truths. When you shift someone's paradigm, you are automatically framing yourself as an authority figure. You are the one taking them by the hand and walking them through the forest. Okay, this is really going to blow your mind right here. Okay, so if you look at the different cognitive biases, this is by Charlie Munger. There's several different cognitive biases. And if you're able to appeal to these cognitive biases through unique insights, which appeals to, just off the bat, so many of these, then you're automatically allowing them to have paradigm shifts. And these paradigm shifts associate so much status with you. So much status. Because you're teaching them. It's like a teacher in school. They know more than you because they're teaching you something. They're allowing you to see things differently. Okay, this person knows more than me. Even if the information is not 100% true, that status is still correlated with you. They're educated about that. So the moral of this is to show that paradigms are always changing. If you're able to tap into the shift and change one's paradigm, you'll be able to capitalize on that gain in authority of your marketplace. So if you look at this photo right here, paradigms are shifting year to year, and they're only accelerating because of the increases in technology, etc. Before in the 14th century, 15th century, things moving slow, etc. But now with technology, paradigms are always shifting. We're discovering new truths. So if you're able to tap into this within the health and fitness space, within your specific niche and vertical, you will absolutely crush. Very straightforward. Peter Thiel actually talks about this in his book 0 to 1. He's actually the founder of PayPal. This is a photo of him and Elon Musk. Okay. As he states, what is something that everyone believes to be false that you know to be true? Every one of today's most famous and familiar ideas was once unknown and unsuspected. The mathematical relationship between a triangle's sides, for example, was a secret for millennia. Pythagoras had to think hard to discover it. If you wanted in on Pythagoras' new theory, new discovery, joining his strange vegetarian cult was the best way to learn about it. Today, his geometry has become a convention, a simple truth we teach to grade schoolers. A conventional truth can be important. It's essential to learn elementary mathematics, for example, but it won't give you an edge. Relate this to fitness. It will not give you an edge. It's not a secret. Remember our contrarian question. What important truth do very few people agree with you on? If we already understand as much of the natural world as we ever will, if all of today's conventional ideas are already enlightened, and if everything, conventions, secrets, mysteries, easy, hard, impossible, has already been done, then there are no good answers. Contrarian thinking doesn't make any sense unless the world still has secrets left to give up. Okay? So secrets are hard to find. Conventions are easy to find. Things that are harder have immediate more value. Period. So it's going to take effort. It's going to take a lot of data to validate this, but you have to lead with a contrarian way of presenting yourself. This is a very big lever to pull. For example, our goal when entering a marketplace is not to provide conventions. This strategy is only useful when you're providing a commoditized service, farming, natural resources, like a trade. You're not really doing that different. If you're a plumber and you're plumbing, you're not providing unique insights to plumbing. Maybe you can, but it's not really going to get you that much ahead. It's a commoditized service in the end. Okay? But in this space specifically, you're not providing a commoditized service anymore. You have to now shift your content, top of funnel, etc., to things that are not unique, things that are secrets. It's framed as a secret. It's a secret. And it allows these people to have several shifts and several paradigm shifts where their cognitive biases have changed. And these cognitive biases have landed pretty much. Okay? So when we enter a marketplace that isn't heavily commoditized, our goal is to provide secrets that aren't impossible to prove or complete mysteries, but rather hard to prove and can be done through logical explanation. Nate built his business around sourcing these unique insights and presenting them to his audience. Recall the business version of our contrarian question. What valuable company is no one building? Every correct answer is necessarily a secret. Something important and unknown, something hard to do but doable. If there are many secrets left in the world, there are probably many world-changing things yet to be done. Okay? So the media, like this is, just to go a step deeper, my brain goes into this, like me personally, I tend to go a step deeper because I'm like, okay, what's really going on with this whole unique insight stuff? Do you really need to build a health business that's focused on unique insights? Where does this come from? Okay? So the media, schooling system, etc., have all kind of brainwashed us to thinking like, okay, everything's discovered, math is figured out, physics are kind of figured out, etc. This is how to make money. Go to school, get a job. Paradigms. This is how math works. It's a fact. Don't question it. Just learn the system before you. This is how to communicate. Here's how to write. Here's how to speak a language. Okay? But everything is influenced on the environment that we're in plays a massive role on us. Okay? And how must you see the world if you don't believe in secrets? You'd have to believe we already solved all great questions. If today's conventions are correct, we can afford to be smug and complacent. God's in his heaven, all's right with the world. Okay? So we're heavily influenced by this modern agenda, by the world, etc. And it's up to us to discover new things, innovations, etc., that we can provide through education to these people, because this is kind of our duty. We're not in this to just play like conventional wisdom on a mass scale, more volume. It's very unattractive. It's not new. You want to do new things. You want to innovate. You want to be different. Okay? I think one of the best business strategies that Sam Muffins told me in Consulting Accelerator when I was a part of, he said, dude, just do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. He's like, if everyone's running ads, just don't run ads. Just don't do it. If everyone's doing, if everyone's pushing, YouTube content, just don't do it. Okay? If it's easy for people to do, they're going to do it. And you should just do the hard thing, which is most likely the opposite. Okay? So what happens when a company stops believing in secrets? Okay? This is actually very interesting because this is going to show you why you need to have unique insights. Okay? So HP, the computer company, in 1990, the company was worth $9 billion. They came a decade of invention. Okay? Then came a decade of invention. In 1991, HP released the DeskJet, the world's first affordable color printer. In 1993, it launched the Omi Book, one of the world's first super portable laptops. The next year, HP released the OfficeJet, the world's first all-in-one printer fax copier. This relentless product expansion paid off by mid-2000s, and HP was worth $135 billion from $9 billion. That's a massive increase. But starting in late 99, when HP introduced a new branding campaign around the imperative to invent, it stopped inventing things. In 2001, the company launched HP Services, a glorified consulting and support shop. In 2002, HP merged with Compaq, presumably because it didn't know what else to do. By 2005, the company's market cap had plunged to $70 billion, roughly half of what it has been 5 years earlier. So they were innovating. They were doing good. Okay? And then they were just like, okay, we're going to stop inventing things. We're just going to, keep pushing the same things that people have already accepted as a truth. And then they just got hit horribly to $70 billion. So this shows you why the only way is to differentiate. You need unique insights to be different. Okay? So if you're gonna take one thing, especially from your content approach, this is applied to everything, because I can show you how to run ads. I can show you how to send cold DMs. I can show you how to generate sales calls. I can show you how to do that. It's very straightforward stuff. But what you're saying and how you're presenting these things and the messaging behind this is extremely important. Okay? It needs to be different. You need to be reinventing secrets. You need to look, like, if you want to look into Nate Bellmark, he does a great job at this. He has a pretty decent sized audience. Okay? But his stuff is so unique. And now you're seeing people actually copy his style. You're seeing people who are, talking about the same stuff he's talking about, and slowly it may become commoditized. We never know. Okay? He does a great job with this and has allowed him to make $220K, it was $220K a month, like when I calculated it a couple months ago. Okay? So that's pretty much the overall what you're going to have to do on the front end. Okay? To go through this once again to make sure that you know the action steps of what you need to do. In order to get uncommoditized and compete against these massive companies, you need to charge a high price. Period. You're no longer charging competitively and becoming a commodity. Because you're increasing price with a specific end date for that program, you have to provide more value. Okay? Are you working in your company? Are you doing all these, I'm going to make your meal plan? No, you're making assets and you're combining these through the mechanisms that we went through here. Map out your failure scenarios. Okay? Map out all of these failure scenarios and then make a mechanism to avoid these failures so that it's purely avoidable that people will not see success. Okay? Based off of that, people are going to have a high emotional commitment. Okay? They're going to have everything, so that's going to take time away from you. And then most importantly, you have to make sure that you are niched within a vertical. Okay? Once this is all done, you can continue with acquisition system stuff that I have other videos on, how to launch ads, how to do all that stuff. But you have to lead with uniqueness and things that are framed as secrets, things that people don't know to be true, new things, not, hey, here is, basic information that I showed you. And you're going to try to educate people on mass scale about these unique insights. And this is the thing with unique insights, you have to prove these to be true. You can't just spew out shit. There's people online who just spew shit out of their mouth. Oh, here's how to do X thing, and it's just like absolute BS. You have to prove it. You have to show that it's actually legitimate. And when you obtain a unique insight, you have to quickly go from obtaining that knowledge to testing that knowledge, okay? And gaining data around that knowledge. And when you work with more people who are within that specific audience, and then you apply these insights, then you're able to see for that one mechanism, like I said, if this is working or if it's not working. Okay? So if you made it to the end of the video, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got value from this. I hope you're seeing that all in all, most fitness coaches are stuck in this middle. They're just more people are coming into this middle. They're becoming these 5 out of 10s, and you're not going to get ahead by following that strategy. You have to be different. You have to uncommoditize. Okay? So thanks for watching. I hope you got value.